Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello!
In front of you, you have a unit, one of two units that we have of Semigallian light infantry. These are the standard Semigallian troops. They do also have medium infantry, which we'll look at later. Now you will be asking, who are Semigallians? Who are they?
They're Russian allies.
Yeah, they're Russian allies. That's all you need to know. Now, they're the people, there are two main big tribes that lived in Latvia and on the borders of Russia. And there are the Semigallians and the Samogitians. Or Semigallians, or I pronounce it. And these two tribes are both ostensibly pagan, and they were ruled over by the Livonian Order. They were the guys who naturally lived there when the Livonians turned up, basically. Many of them did end up joining the Livonian army because the Livonians didn't really care what religion you were as long as you worked for them. So they paid often pagan troops to fight alongside them, which is a bit strange. You're just staring at me blankly.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, Russian had no allies anyway, so of course you have to pay for them.
No, not the Russians, the Livonians.
The Livonians were an order who were separated from everyone else.
Yeah, so Livonians, when they were fighting the Semigallians, would hire Semigallians to fight against them. So it's a bit complicated.
Pagans.
Yeah, they're basically pagans. And these are the main enemies that Christendom at the time was trying to convert. So during the Northern Crusades, these were the primary troops that the Crusader armies were facing and the Swedes were facing. Supported what?
No one's well one.
Yeah, but they were supported, of course, by the Russians because they also spread out into Russia and really annoyed the Russians. And then Nevsky led an army to stop the Crusades, and he did a pretty successful job. But that's all besides the point. So these are Semigallian infantry. They are light infantry. They carried no armour that we know of. A few may have carried mail. There may have been some the odd soldier wearing a gambeson, he's taken off a crusader. But generally they were lightly armed troops with relatively large shields, usually fought with spears and axes as their primary weapon. But they will use captured weapons. There's someone at the back there with a sword, and there's a guy here with a mace who we would have stolen off of a Russian. But mostly they would have been spearmen and troops like that, just spearmen. I've also added the occasional figure. In this particular set of figures, there's only one who is firing a slingshot. I've also got one firing a crossbow and one firing a bow. It's only to give the units a bit of variety. They don't count for anything in the rules, but it's just because they would use any weapon they could get their hands on. So I did give a few additional weapons to them. I think it's interesting. I think the most fun thing about it was painting the shields, because the shields were awesome.
Well, yeah, but they look rubbish.
Why?
Cardboard, like their shields are like anything could pierce it.
No, they were standard shields.
Mm.
Shield's a shield after all.
No, it's not.
But they did do quite cartoony shields, very bright colours.
Why?
And strange patterns. Why? Because they were scary? I don't know. Why does anyone paint a shield any colour?
Well, no, they didn't. No, they have like the Russians.
Yeah, that's true.
They have a standard shield colour.
Depending on what city state they belong to. Novgorod troops generally wore red, blue and purple. Many of the other Russian states had multicoloured shields. Lots of different colours. So I just chose to do the Novgorodian troops because I'm doing the army of Alexander Nevsky, so it kind of made sense. And also you can use them for Polish at a pinch. Besides that, the figures are Dark Age warriors. I've used a few spare arms and things from other boxes, and the javelin. There's a guy here carrying two spears, which are two javelins. That's from the Viking box. So I have used a mixture. I've used the occasional helmet with these figures, but mostly they're from the Dark Age Warrior box. Questions?
How trained were they in combat? How good in combat were they?
How trained in combat? They were relatively decent troops because they generally fought against each other every season. So they would have had some combat experience. They weren't a sort of local levy. So they would have fought... What's up?
Nothing.
Yeah? They would have fought in sort of tribal, regional wars. And so they would have had some form of experience. So they wouldn't be inexperienced. So they would be relatively okay. Not the best troops, certainly not a properly paid militia or anything. But they could hold their own in combat probably, but not against heavy infantry or decent infantry. Really, they would rely on hit and run tactics. They'd form a shield wall. If they weren't able to ambush, they'd form a shield wall, fight to the shield wall, then run away. And then reform and then fight again and then run away. Rather than try and actually press home against the enemy. One occasion where they did was, of course, when the Livonian Order finally fell.
Oh yeah, in the smog.
Yeah, they had a lot of advantages there, and when the Samogitian allies broke and ran away from when the knights started getting killed, the allied troops ran away. And when they saw the allied troops running away, the Semigallians just charged in and finished off the Livonians because they could see weakness. So they can take on and defeat knights. Maybe not the best troops in the world, but they can fight knights. And after all, they are armed with axes. Axes and spears are their main weapons. The spear is no actual use against a knight. You could knock him over with it. But axes certainly good against knights because you can actually damage knights with an axe. Not with a sword. Swords are useless. You want to go in with an axe, and an axe is going to do the most damage.
Yep.
Yeah. Next question.
Uniform? Do they have uniform?
None whatsoever. No, they just turned up in the Sunday best. They had no form of uniform. Usually you'd be able to tell who they were by what language they were speaking. But they didn't wear any form of uniform. Not like the Russians or the other Holy Order Knights. They would just turn up in their normal clothing, usually with some form of armour of some kind, but nothing special, probably a bit of leather armour or folded felt, which is quite useful. And then they would fight, and that was about it. They also appear to have only carried one shield, which would have been unusual for the time.
Well, hit and run tactics, aren't they?
I suppose so, yes. So probably a lot of the times they would only use the shield for defence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Given that they didn't carry swords as a sidearm, they would have carried axes. They mostly wouldn't have owned a sword. So that they wouldn't have had a sidearm, they would have used a shield for that instead. Sorry, an arming sword. I should be more straightforward. We had a guy comment on one of the other videos about the lengths of swords and stuff, saying that I was wrong about men carrying swords into battle. The picture he sent was clearly of an arming sword, which is a sort of short-ish sword, which is tapered to a point, and that's for stabbing and deflecting. And it's sharp on both sides, so you can't use it in proper combat because it will break, because it's sharp. If you hit two swords sharp end to sharp end, one of them is going to break. And the larger sword, they were the ones used on horseback often. The larger swords are the really, really, really big swords, and they tended to be blunt.
Great swords.
Yeah, great swords.
So relied on the heaviness of it to cut through the armour.
Correct.
Not the sharpness.
Yeah, a blunt sword will cut through a tree. And
you can take it back out. A sharp sword gets stuck in the bone.
Correct. And yeah, so you could actually run someone through or hack someone with an arming sword, and it would stick in the enemy.
Yep.
Whereas with a heavy sword, doesn't do that. It's too big. Only problem is, while you're wielding your huge 5-foot long sword, other people can hit you at the same time. So you
That's why knights normally are the ones who had great swords.
Correct, because they have troops on either side of them which will guard against attacks.
Same goes for halberdiers, the ones with massive axes.
Yes.
They have troops in front of them.
Yeah. The halberdiers move through shielded troops, which is why halberds don't need shields.
Yep.
And crossbows. Crossbows don't carry shields either for the same reason.
No, at the back anyway.
Yeah. No, front. Crossbows are at the front, but they stand behind the infantry at the front.
Which time was it where they put them at the back? Because the people who had crossbows were the people who were scared of combat. Because now recently did.
One of the recent ones we did.
Yeah, recently.
Would that be the Ayabiad army?
It could be.
Yeah, they used crossbows at the rear and fired over the heads, which is the opposite tactics used by Crusaders and Knights of the period. Yeah, they didn't use crossbows in the front rank. Because they were completely untrained troops, so you didn't want to risk them getting killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so that's these chaps. These have turned up. One would assume that these would be probably the least efficient troops on a battlefield. Although they are defending their homeland, and defending your town kind of makes you a better fighter. You just got more guts. However, most armies at the time used mercenary troops and things like that who were professional soldiers. Feudal armies very, very seldom carried peasants with them. Arming peasants was never a good idea because they might get ideas. Also, peasants pay tax. And if you get your peasants killed on the battlefield, they can't pay tax to you.
No.
And therefore you have less money. And what would generally happen is the enemy knights would come into your town and kill as many peasants as possible in order to deny you taxes. So knights were there to defend peasants, not for peasants to fight for them. Forget rubbish films like Robin Hood. That's not the real world. Robin Hood, you don't kill peasants. The Normans did, but that's because they were stupid. And
all the way to London.
And their economy collapsed. So
it collapsed way before that.
Yeah, they ruined their economy by invading Britain. And they ruined the British economy. Because they're idiots. Which is why no one likes Normans.
Even today.
Even today, everyone hates Normans. Right, so I think that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Outro?
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And comment down below what you think of the Semigallian normal infantry. That's it from me.
And everything from him. Goodbye.